someone who is holding the torch, shining the light, and doing some amazing things all the way over in the beautiful land of New Zealand. He is, again, doing fantastic stuff. He's a light worker. He's a hip hop visionary. He's a creative, but he is someone that talks freaking sense. And again, I've heard him speak many times, and every single time I've thought, this is cutting through. This needs to be heard. And that's exactly why I invited Jess Wynard to speak here today at the Global Freedom Rally. Jesse, welcome.
What's good, bro? Thank you
for having me. How are you, my man?
I'm doing good, bro. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay, brother. How are you?
Oh, bro, I'm good, man. I'm good. It's crazy times, transformational times, but I just want to acknowledge you, bro. I know it's not easy creating something like this and creating a space and holding the space and gathering leaders together. It's needed, bro, and the people need it. And you're a beacon of hope in a chaotic world, bro. So thank you for inviting me here today.
I really appreciate that, brother. And I appreciate exactly the same thing from you. You step up, and when you could easily sit down, you don't shy away from the conversation. You don't shy away from truth, and you do it in a really engaging way, which is needed, again, for us to hit different generations and for us to hit different people. We all need to play our part in sharing our truth and message. So, Jesse, I want to say a big thank you. I'm going to leave you to talk to the people, and then I'm going to come in and have a chat with you at the end.
Beautiful. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
My man.
All right, family, tribe, thank you for having me today. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Jesse Wynard. You may also know me as I Am Eon, which is my hip-hop name. I'm also a hip-hop artist. And just a quick little intro about myself. I'm the creator of a company, a New Zealand-based company called the Warriors of Light. And I mean, the mission statement's in the name, really, but our main mission is to bring more light to the world. And light means truth. Light means hope. Light means love. It means peace. It means unity. It means enlightenment. It means empowerment. It means motivation, inspiration, healing. Anything that is going to help raise and elevate the consciousness of humanity. That is what we do. And we have a huge platform, and we've got an amazing global tribe. We've got over 20,000 members in the tribe globally. And our focus, fam, is really simple. Like I said, to bring light to the world and to offer educational platforms. So we offer what we call transformation education, which is the education of transforming yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, so you can really step into your true purpose and unlock your full potential as a human being, as a creative human being, incarnated during these pretty rapid and transformational times. And I'm also a coach. I've been a coach for many years, over 10 years now. Worked with tens of thousands of people from all around the world in the personal development industry. I was also raised very spiritual as well. My mum was a spiritual healer, and I've been on a huge path of spiritual growth and awakening throughout my entire life. I'm one of those people that have had a lot of challenging adversities happen to me throughout my short time here on this planet, which I'm so grateful for, because it led me to doing what I do today. And like I mentioned, fam, my main focus and my main mission behind everything that I do is to bring more light to this world. And I believe we all have that ability. We all have that unique power within us to be able to shine our light and express our light in different ways, whether that be through speaking, whether that be through writing, whether that be through music, singing, hip hop, rap, poetry, whatever the case may be. We're creative individuals, and our creativity and our creative expression is what really makes an impact in this world. Just like Andy, who has created this whole event, that was an idea that he had, that he created and brought into reality, and the ripple effect that idea and that manifestation is going to have a huge ripple effect in this world and make a positive impact. And I believe that's what we're all here to do. I'm also a hip hop artist, so I make a lot of music as well. And I like to take everything that I teach my students and infuse it into my music to raise the collective consciousness, man. There's a lot of negativity in the world, especially within music. So that's a big part of my mission that's very close to me. And maybe if we get the time before I close off today, I'll share some poetry with you guys to really sink in the message that I have for you today. But what I wanted to, it was really interesting. I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today. And it's perfect divine timing, because tomorrow, here, which is here Sunday in New Zealand, Monday in New Zealand, so 2 days from now, we're actually opening up a 7-day event very similar to this one, called the Manifest Unity Summit. We've got amazing speakers from all around the world. Some of the speakers that are actually part of this event are a part of our event as well, which is really cool. So it's really cool how it's all come together. But I was really just meditating on everything. I've been busy planning this massive event. We've got like thousands and thousands of people a part of it. It's going to be crazy. And I was thinking, what am I going to speak about today? It's the Freedom Rally. I as soon as Andy reached out to me, I was like, yep, this is aligned. I've been at a number of rallies and protests here in New Zealand over the last couple of months, and really just working a lot with the people ever since this whole thing began, at the beginning of 2020. I've been really working with a lot of people, ran a lot of events. I've run a lot of online events and in-person events, retreats, and just really had an opportunity to work with a lot of different amazing human beings, leaders, entrepreneurs, creators, doctors, scientists, coaches. And when I was meditating on what to speak about today, I really wanted to contribute to this container and to contribute to this event by talking about unity. And I think this is a really important conversation, especially considering everything that we are currently going through in the world right now. We're going through what many people are calling the global awakening, or the Great Awakening. And this is a point in time where there have been many different prophecies and people that have spoken about this time throughout history. There's many prophecies about the times that we're living in right now. And the reason why I like to call it the global awakening is because that's exactly what's happening. Millions of people around the world are waking up to the truth of what is going on in the world, but also to the truth of who they are and what they actually are. And the awakening process has been something that I've been working with for many years now. And the awakening process is not easy. For those of you that are watching right now that might have gone through a conscious or spiritual awakening to a higher perception of reality, awakening to a higher understanding of self, awakening to the shadows of what is happening in the society that we live in, that we're a part of. It's not an easy process, because awakening requires you to detach from old paradigms. And when I say a paradigm, I mean a way of life. I mean, when I say a paradigm, I mean identity, persona, attachments, addictions, behaviors, habits, belief systems. And this is what we all inevitably go through as human beings. Like, we all evolve consciously, and we're all at different stages of our journey, and no one's better or worse. But what makes this time so unique is the global awakening. And the beautiful and also paradoxical aspect of this awakening is that all of the challenges that we're facing in the world right now, we're talking about the virus, we're talking about the mandates, the vaccines, we're talking about the ethical boundaries that are being placed upon our people at the moment. We're talking about the division and the segregation that's being created through the narratives that are being pushed by major corporations and governments and media in this world right now. When we're looking at, when we go even deeper down the rabbit hole and we start seeing like the dark side to humanity that's playing out behind the scenes and kind of orchestrating and pulling the strings behind everything that we're experiencing right now, all of those things that are happening, it's not easy to become aware of those things. When you become awakened to corruption, when you become awakened to tyranny, when you become awakened to the agendas and the motives behind what we're seeing in this world, it's not easy. Like, let's be honest, it's challenging. It's really challenging. And we're all human beings, which means we all experience emotions, which means it is emotionally challenging. And that's why we're seeing so many people suffering in the world right now. So many people are just clouded with fear and clouded with scarcity and lack. You know, fear around job security, fear around money, fear around freedom. You know, people are feeling like freedom is being taken from them, which in a sense it is. That's definitely something that is a reality for a lot of people right now. And even though all of these things are so challenging, I want to just come in here and remind everyone of a higher perspective, that all of these things that we're experiencing are what we like to call catalysts. They're catalysts for our awakening. You see, millions of people may have not woken up to what's going on in the world, or may have not woken up to the matrix that we are a part of. And I'm going to get to what I mean by matrix very soon. But many people wouldn't have had that opportunity to go through that awakening process right now if it weren't for all of these things happening in the world. We talk about protests, we talk about freedom rallies, what we're doing right now here in New Zealand. I wasn't able to make it today, but there's rallies happening all over New Zealand today. Here in Auckland and here in different parts of New Zealand. I can't make it today because I've been busy and I'm doing this with you guys as well. But all of those things are happening because of the catalysts that we're seeing play out within our governments, within politics, within healthcare systems, and all of these different systems that our society is made up of. And even though, like, on a day-by-day human level, that can be so challenging, and it can be very easy to get caught up in the politics. It's really easy to get caught up in the stress and the fear and the anger and all of these emotions that we feel. But I wanted to just remind you that behind everything we experience in life, there's always a lesson. There's always wisdom. Think back to the times in your life when you've gone through a traumatic experience or a really challenging experience where you might have lost a loved one, or gone through a breakup, or been hurt or betrayed by someone, or lost a lot of money, had a financial loss, whatever the case may be. And all of these things are so challenging for us. They're traumatizing. And I see everything that's happening in the world as very traumatizing for a lot of people. The amount of times I've had to literally turn off my phone because I'm getting anxious from looking at the what's happening in the world right now. But the beautiful thing about it is that it's necessary. You see, you wouldn't have millions of people around the world protesting and fighting for their freedom if there wasn't freedom getting taken away from them. And realizing that the freedom that a lot of us are fighting for perhaps was an illusion to begin with, because the way that the system and the society that we live in is set up is we are so attached to the system, we're so attached to the matrix itself, that when that relationship with the system gets jeopardized, we, the people, are like, wait a second, what's happening here? And that's why we start to question things. And that's why we're seeing this evolution of consciousness take place, because we're having to question our reality. We're having to question our belief systems. We're having to question our attachments to systems and people and leaders and external entities that exist outside of us, you see. And humanity has been, and this might be an intense way to look at it, but it's a perspective that's valid, as humanity has been enslaved for a very long time. When we go back to ancient civilizations, you can see the evolution of consciousness has always been very suppressed. When we look at a lot of the systems that make up the society that we live in, we're talking about the governments, we're talking about the media, we're talking about the pharmaceutical industries. I did an interview the other week on my Facebook page with a client and student of mine, part of the Warriors of Light Academy. She's a PhD in molecular biology, and she's actually she's going to be speaking at our event next week, and she's got an MBA in pharmaceutical marketing. So we did this massive 2-hour conversation where she was telling me about the pharmaceutical industries, and she actually used to write sales copy and marketing copy for these massive pharmaceutical corporations. So she was educating me on how that actually works behind the scenes. When we look at the pharmaceutical companies, when we look at the religions, when we look at the entertainment industries, the music industries, when we look at all of these dominant corporations and industries in the world, and we really analyze them and observe them, we can see common trends and patterns playing out in all of these different sections of society. And all of these, and the reason why I call it the Matrix, you know, the new Matrix movie is coming out very soon, so it's very aligned. But when I say the word the Matrix, what I mean by the Matrix is I mean the psychological collective belief system that has been implanted within our consciousness or programmed into our subconscious minds from birth, from all of these different systems. And when you look at all of these different systems, there are belief programs or belief systems, sorry, that have been planted into us. You know, and all of these belief systems, they keep us attached to these systems. You see, we have so much attachment to the governments for providing us, you know, with what we think we are entitled to. We have so much attachment to the media as the source of truth where we get information from. We have so much attachment to religious leaders that are acting as middle ground to God or a higher power or the universe or whatever higher power we resonate with. We have all of, you know, we have entertainment industry and the music industry and all of these I don't want to use the word idols, but figures, entities, corporations, anything external that we become attached to, right, and dependent upon. And we're looking at the healthcare system, you know, this whole conversation about the vaccine right now. Like, a lot of people have no idea that their body has the ability to heal itself from anything. When you're looking at a lot of the groundbreaking science that's taking place when it comes to epigenetics and quantum physics and the power of belief psychology and the mind-body connection, and you look at some of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work or Greg Braden's work, and you start to see analyze the data of people learning to self-heal. You know, people don't realize that they have the ability to heal. People don't realize they have the ability to create their own reality without needing any external guidance or external validation, you see. So the reason why I'm sharing this is because as we're going through this global awakening, we're waking up and we're detaching from the matrix. We're starting to realize, like, wait a second, I'm not going to let these people dictate what I do with my body or with my life or with my time or with my energy, you know. And that's what a lot of us are going through. You know, I was really, I guess, grateful and blessed to have gone through this awakening in my personal life very early on, because my mother was a very conscious individual who educated me on the world and the systems within the world and the universe, universal laws, and all of these different things. So I was blessed with this higher perception of society. And that's why I always felt alienated. I always felt like I didn't fit in, because everyone was so attached to, like, these systems, you know, going to school, going to university, going into corporate roles and climbing up the corporate ladder and chasing money and chasing success and chasing fame and chasing power. And it just never resonated with me. And I'm grateful, because now, as I'm observing the world, I can see that a lot of people are just starting to go through that realization now. And I know how challenging it is, and I know how scary it is. And if you're watching this video right now, fam, you might be one of those people that are going through that right now. You might, you know, whether you're, you know, just going through this awakening process, whether you're a leader in a leadership position and you're playing your role in the evolution of humanity in a positive direction in your own unique way. Reality is, it's not easy. It's scary. It requires strength. It requires courage. It requires strength and courage to be able to face the darkness in this world, right? It requires faith in yourself, trust in yourself. It requires faith in something bigger, realizing that you're a part of something bigger. You see, I feel like every single one of us, Andy, who's created this event, myself, all of these other amazing speakers, doctors, politicians, scientists, coaches, musicians, artists, and everyone else that has the the inner yearning to make a positive change in this world. We all play a role. We all play our own part within this global awakening, but it requires us to really, first and foremost, confronting our own attachments to the system. And I think this leads me on to the next part of the conversation I want to share, which is really doing the work on ourselves so that we can make a really positive contribution. And this is where I lead into the conversation about unity consciousness and why I believe this is so important. When we start understanding the matrix system that we're a part of, and we start diving into the rabbit hole of how this world operates, I've been deep in the rabbit hole for my entire life. So I have a very deep and personal, many personal experiences that have led to a deep awareness of how this world works, especially when it comes to the negative side of the spectrum, the negative polarity. And one of the biggest challenges I feel that we face as light workers, and I'm going to just use the word light worker because I feel we're all wanting to bring more light and truth and freedom into this world in our own way. One of the biggest challenges that we face as light workers is when we get caught up in the polarity. Now, let me explain what I mean by this. When we understand levels of consciousness, right? When we understand unity consciousness, or the universal law of one, is the understanding, it's the higher understanding that everything within this reality and within this universe is one, right? And within that oneness, there is polarity. There is the polarizations. There's the two sides of the pole. Now, when we look at a pole, I don't have a pole. Oh, yeah, I got my pen here. I got a pencil. When we look at the pole, we have the positive end of the spectrum and we have the negative end of the spectrum, you see? And what happens is when we go through an awakening process, we tend to lean towards one polarity. We often lean towards the positive end of the polarity, right? And we turn against the negative side. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There's no good or bad perspective from this. But the reason why I'm sharing this perspective is understanding that the pole is one thing. You see, it's one thing. So when we're looking at polarity in the world that we're in the current events that we're facing, yes, there is evil in this world, right? When we're looking at the polarity, or should I say the duality of positive and negative, there's good and evil, right? So there is a such thing as evil. And what is evil driven by? What drives evil? What drives evil is greed and power. It's the accumulation of power at the expense of other people. That's what makes evil. I'm going to say that again so that lands for you guys. It's the drive it's the drive towards greed and power at the expense of other people, meaning you don't care if other people get hurt or die in the process. That's what makes evil. And people go down that path. There are evil people in this world that do evil things. Now, what makes someone on the opposite side of this spectrum, what makes someone good, is someone that wants to do good in the world. They want to serve the world. They want to serve humanity. And they want to serve the world, and that's the way that and they're driven by love. They're driven by connection. They're driven by compassion and empathy, that which makes us all one. And because we have this deep understanding that everything is one, we want to serve humanity. because we understand that serving humanity is also serving ourselves, because we are all one. So you can see the difference there. But the key, and I know I'm getting close to running out of time, so I'm going to try to wrap this up. I could talk about this all day. But the reason why this is so important is because, and this is so important, fam, we all have good and evil within us. You see, we all have the potential of good and evil. And sometimes evil is disguised. Sometimes we can have evil tendencies and we might not even realize it. We might have more ego-driven tendencies, which seeks power or seeks fame or seeks validation or seeks control and manipulation. We don't even realize it. We might think that we're doing good. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this, the moral of this message that I'm sharing with you guys, is when we understand unity consciousness, it's the understanding that everything is one. So it means that even though there is evil in the world, there's a reason for it, right? There's a reason for it. And the reason, going back to what I said right at the beginning, it's the catalyst. The evil and the darkness and the shadows, whether we're looking at something externally in the systems and the matrix and the society that we live in, or if we're looking at it internally, when we're looking at our own shadows and our own negative aspects of ourselves. Whatever it is, the darkness is always there to teach us. We wouldn't understand what light is without darkness. The same way we wouldn't understand what pleasure is without pain, right? It's through the pain that we understand pleasure. It's through the chaos and the suffering that we understand peace. It's through the hate that we understand love, you see? But the important thing to know when it comes to unity consciousness is when we have that understanding that everything plays its role, then we're able to not become so divided within ourselves towards whatever it is that we're facing in this world. It's like when we see, you know, for example, politicians, right? And I know we're getting into politics now, but if you look at a politician, a lot of people that are just waking up, or actually, let's not even look at politicians. Let's look at like policemen, for example, right? Or like law enforcement, military. You know, they get a lot of bad rap because they're kind of like working for the governments and enforcing all these laws. A lot of people that are going through awakening processes that haven't reached that level of unity, understanding that we're all just one, they like to hate. They like to hate and project hate towards external people or systems. You know, they like to hate on police. They like to hate on politicians. They like to hate on doctors, or, you know, even with this whole anti-vaccine kind of drama that's going on in the world right now, you're seeing people hate against each other. And I see it all the time. And I hear it at the protests. And there's a reason why I'm sharing this, so please bear with me, fam. I hear it at the protests. You really hear the hate that people have being projected energetically through what they're doing and what they're saying. And I'm not saying that that's bad or good, but the reason why I'm saying this is because my belief is that hate is the greatest enemy of all. I'm going to say that again. Hate is the greatest enemy of all. And when we can understand that there's a reason behind what's going on in the world right now, we're able to approach the injustice and the tyranny and the negative forces and the dark forces and the evil forces that are really doing their work in this planet right now. We're able to approach it with more inner peace. When we can have an understanding of its purpose, then we can shine more light and more love, and not the opposite. Because if you allow for the anger that you experience within yourself and you don't confront it, you don't acknowledge the anger, then what can happen is the anger can then turn into resentment. Now, I believe anger is an important emotion that we all must have the ability to channel into something positive. But when it's unchecked, it can turn toxic. The anger can turn to resentment, and then the resentment turns to hate. And then the hate is projected externally, and it's also projected internally, which is what creates division. So my moral of the story, fam, is that every single one of us, we're all leaders. We all are here in leadership positions. And no matter what we do, we have to take responsibility for ourselves, and we have to take responsibility for our lives and our families and our children. And part of that leadership responsibility is the things that we do, the words that we say, the words that we write, the actions that we take, the things that we create. Are we creating from a place of hate and fear and feeding into the polarity? Are we underlyingly, secretly, subconsciously seeking power in our own way, or are we genuinely wanting to do good in this world? And I believe that these are very important questions to ask, because when we can resolve the inner turmoil within ourselves, then we're going to be in a much better position to be able to actually create more unity within this world, bringing people together. You know, I said this in one of my recent videos, is that I don't care whether you're a vaccinated person or an unvaccinated person. I understand that everyone has different reasons for doing things. Everyone's completely different. To segregate myself from other people is only continuing to feed into what they, who are the puppet masters, want. Divide and conquer is one of the most powerful tools that keeps us under control, no matter what side of the divide that we're on. Okay, so my moral to this is find unity within yourself. Understand the greater whole behind everything that's happening in the world right now. Find peace within yourself and play your role. If your role is on the positive end of the polarity and you're here to do good in the world, play that role from a place of unity consciousness. And I guarantee you the impact that you will make, and the lives that you will inspire, and the healing that you will promote, and the unity that you can generate will be worth it, fam. So I hope that made sense and that landed for you guys. And yeah, I hope. Sorry for going a little bit over time, but
Not at
yeah.
all. Brother, it needed to be said. And again, as I mentioned, I love your message. And I think all of those points are so important. And right now, we need to look inside, because if we're not changing the internal, how the hell can we change the external? Your outside world is simply a reflection of your inside world. And I think if all of the challenges we've faced have taught us nothing but this, it is that we need to evolve more. We need to grow more in order to be the change we wish to see. And you, my friend, have done exactly that. You are the change, and you've shone that light for New Zealand and to the rest of the world. So again, thank you, brother.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Now, bro, I want to be a little bit selfish. You mentioned you might have a poem for us. Is it possible that you lay this down?
Yeah, bro. I can do that. I can do that for you.
Let's go, people.
We got time?
This is the Global Freedom Rally. We got time for it, my man.
All right, sweet. Okay. Let me just see. All right. Okay, I got this. So this is from a song that I've got an album coming up early next year, and this is from a song called Forbidden Knowledge. So I'll share this with you guys now.
Love it.
I do this shit for my people. We live in a world where speaking truth is illegal. They're censoring our voices. I hope you know this shit ain't legal. Governments be lying to people that shit deceitful. So I'ma speak up to wake up your pineal gland. Your third eye vision will see we equal. Stand in light for the chaos, remain peaceful. We band and fight for the deed before the evil. When I say that we gods, you know people won't believe you. Burn me at the stake, but I remain a believer. I'll be walking through the fire, kicking with my homie Jesus. Devil is alive, but he chilling with the preachers. Damn. I'll be speaking to the dreamers, waking up the sleepers. I'll be speaking in tongues to the motherfucking bleachers. I'll be mixing up the Bible with the Bhagavad Gita, healing, slaying all these demons. You can call me the Reaper, respected in the spirit world, walking with legions. Don't you know my ancestors are Polynesians, ancient navigators from the star system regions. Trace my DNA to the Garden of Eden. Anunnaki bloodlines ascended from Kemet, a reject from starships and projects. I'm up next regardless. Forbidden knowledge, paying homage. Forbidden knowledge, paying homage to the scholars and mysteries. They don't teach you shit in college. All they teach is white history. Teach you about your rights or your freedoms or your liberties. They teach you to be a slave to this motherfucking industry. Religious ministry, sitting by the Christmas tree. Same pedophiles that be raping our divinity. This is acidity, hijacking our chemistry. This infecting the diseases that be creating the family trees. Descending from heaven at 11:11, back in 1993, 1807. That means my conception was divine intervention, and my soul's evolution is geometric progression. The ship is medical, I'm radical, I'm highly adaptable. Half man, half animal, half god, half jackal. My flow is supernatural and the damage collateral. My set is unsurpassable, imagination is expandable. This is humanity, this is divinity, this is infinity beyond duality. Dualistic energies I'm feeling deep inside of me. Create the synergy, the frequency, the symmetry. This is precision I'll be building astrologically. Open up the portal, I'll be speaking metaphorically. Manifesting visions, I'll be bringing all these prophecies to life. It's the return of the Christ. I am the Christ, but I ain't the man. Let there be light, my Father said, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I call upon the archangels, my light warriors from heaven above, Saint Gabriel and Michael, to free my people from the depths of hell. Raised from the grave, I'm a dead man walking, changing the game, God spoken. I've been floating since the first explosion, but I'm chilling in this moment. Don't sleep, stay woken. Don't blink, stay focused. Then we chosen for this moment. Then we rolling, guns blaze, stay strapped, and we loaded. And I'm finna wake this whole fucking rap game up. You know, there's levels to the shit I'm just loading. The shit is ancient. Welcome to the mysteries. Breaking out the matrix. Inside your mind, you'll find the key. I'm feeling like the greatest. About to create history. No, you can't replace this. Call me Mr. NFTs. This is immortality. You mad at me. You just can't stand my energy. You haven't healed your energy. You're carrying these entities. If you're mad at me, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But don't call me your enemy. The only man you mad at, G, is the mirror staring back at thee. I said, the only man you mad at, G, is the mirror staring back at thee. That means that the hate that you hold and project onto me is simply a product of insecurity, and you'll never be free if you can't find the peace to your past and your demons. They feed off your chi, and the chi is your life force. It keeps you alive. It's the air that you breathe that be giving you life. If you take that for granted, get used to the strife, because the truth can cut deep and you holding the knife. Forbidden knowledge. Thank you.
Love that, brother. Love that. My man. I don't know how you do it, honestly. I'm sitting there thinking, geez, I don't know how long it'll take me to remember that. But my brother, you absolutely deliver a message with style, and I've got to thank you for that. Man, tell me a little bit about New Zealand at the moment, because a lot of the people, we've got so many people from the USA watching. We've got so many people from Australia watching, the UK watching. Tell us, is there a shift happening in New Zealand at the moment? Are things improving?
Yes, they are, bro. We're a small country here. I believe we have 5 million. It's not many people here, bro. And there is definitely a shift happening. We have, you know, my culture, my lineage is New Zealand Maori, so I've got indigenous blood within me. And the indigenous Maori culture is very strong here, and when you go back to the, you know, our ancestors, they were very connected to the land, very connected to nature and the elements of nature. And you know, there was a lot of war here, you know, when it was colonized. It was interesting because for me, I have actually I've got ancestors on both sides of the war here in New Zealand, so I've got like, a lot of us have this like internal conflict when it comes to like race and stuff like that. But the reason why I'm sharing this is because there is a big awakening happening. Like I said, that there's protests happening today, and there's a lot of people that are standing up and saying no. And the way that I see it, bro, is when we talk about the Great Awakening, it's a process that's inevitable. So right now, you know, there's this narrative like vaccine, non-vaccine. So a lot of people look at people like us, freedom fighters, and they're like, oh, they're just these anti-vaxxers, and you know, but it's really not the case, because like what we're really doing here is we're promoting freedom, we're promoting unity, we're promoting empowerment, and people are starting to wake up to that. And it's only a matter of time. You know, we're talking about booster shots, we're talking about like people that are getting forced to do things. And I've talked to so many people that have chosen to get the vaccine because they needed to, because they're going to lose their jobs and all these different types of things. And so many people, whether they're vaccinated or unvaccinated, are realizing that there's some bullshit going on and there's some corruption happening. So I feel that's why these events are so important. Speaking our truth, standing for what we believe in, you know, and just spread, you know, helping others expand their awareness. And if we can do that from that unity place, where we're not trying to like try and prove people wrong, but we're trying to like help all of us expand and grow, no matter what our belief systems are, that's how we can create collective change. I see this vision of like, and this is what it was like at our last protest. We had vaccinated and unvaccinated marching. And it's going to continue happening like that the more that the injustice is pushed on us, and the more people just start to wake up, start to just question things, So, yeah, bro, to answer your question, it's a little bit elaborate, but yes, there's things are shifting slowly but surely.
It's awesome, man. And it's crazy. It's like each country in sync is seeing a big shift, because Australia, there is a huge momentum now. I'm really grateful and really excited to see how many Australians have hit the streets today. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it shortly, but over 200,000 in Melbourne, over 100,000 in Sydney. You've got thousands in Brisbane and Perth, etc. And it's people that just want reasonable things, freedom of choice, non-censorship, privacy, and we all deserve those things, but you don't get that without protecting it. We have to fight for what's ours and own that shit, just like history has taught us over and over again. Mate, you're doing phenomenal things. Tell us, where can our viewers find more of you, and when's your album coming out?
Thanks, bro. Yeah, so the album's coming out. It was supposed to be coming out in December, but we're going to push it back to like January, February next year. But you can find me on Spotify if you want to listen to my music. I released an album last year. I got plenty of music on Spotify. YouTube is just I Am Eon, IAMAEON. Same with on Facebook and Instagram, I Am Eon. TikTok as well. But we do have, like I mentioned at the beginning, we've got an event starting on Monday called the Manifest Unity Summit. I think the link's somewhere around here. I saw it popping up before. Yeah, there it is. But yeah, if you guys want to register for that, it's free. www.warriorsoflightacademy.com/manifest unity. And yeah, we've got an amazing group of speakers on there. Same thing. Honestly, it's all the same mission, just raising the
Well, it's very appropriate, brother, because you are a warrior of the light. And again, I want to say a big thank you, dude. You're doing some great things. You're standing in the fire, and you're doing it with style, brother. So again, a huge thank you for joining us at the Global Freedom Rally.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. I'm excited to continue working alongside you in the future, bro.
Love it, brother. Have a good day.
You too, man.